has been saying that studs don't want bisexual women, but we will chase a straight woman. Is this true, or is this something that the internet streets are saying? Because I know for me, dating straight women, that's a habit that I kicked to the curb a long time ago. Just like all the topics on Unbuttoned, this is not just a topic, this is lived experience. I grew up on like a really small island. Right? So for me, early on, straight girls felt like my only option, okay? Because I didn't know anybody who was like me. You know, they say you can't fall in love that young, but I'm pretty sure I was in love. Play, we would have a good time, and then we would get to school, and she would tell me, you can't talk to me, you can't look at me. I thought that it was perfectly normal for us to get in public, and she would completely ignore me or shun me. And then what would I see all day? I would see her talking to boys, you know, flirting with them, and you know, this carried on for years. And I got my first girlfriend. It was the same situation where we would have fun and hang out and do things in the dark, in private, but when in the daylight, I would have to watch her, you know, flirt with all the boys. And I thought this was just normal. Someone tells me she's at the prom making out with this guy, right? Why I still feel it? 16-year-old me, heartbroken. It wasn't just that she'd moved on, and it wasn't even that it was a guy. It was the fact that she went back to what the world saw as acceptable. It was the fact that she went back to what the world saw as acceptable. That's the thing that I think hurts the most. When you're dealing with a straight woman, when you're dealing with someone who loves you in the shadows, that was my last taste of the straight women. Couldn't do it again. But I will tell you, that has left scars with me that I think I still deal with. I was fun. I was an experiment. I was someone to mess around with in the dark version of her life. But when it was time for the real life, she ran right back to a man. So I'm good. I'm good on the straight women. So that was my story. And I'd love to hear your stories about dating straight women. But apparently, according to my guests, studs love them. And so I'm here to find out, are we talking about young studs? Because I was 16. I didn't know any better. Are we talking about studs who are my age or mass who are my age? I find that very difficult to believe. But we're going to see. So I want to ask y'all, put it in the chat. Do y'all think studs are really out here chasing straight women? Has it been your experience? Or is it that we're just calling women straight who aren't out yet? My guest, Chrissy, she says yes. Come on up.
Hey, can you hear me?
I can definitely hear you. Thank you so much for being here. I love that green.
Thank you.
That's my favorite color. Your video made me stop scrolling. I saw your video and I knew I had to talk to you. And so I was like, I was kind of surprised almost that you accepted the invite. Because, you know, some people get on the internet and they say some controversial things. What's up, Ebony Rose? And then when it's time to talk about it, they're like, you know, I don't want to get involved. But you accepted my invitation. And so thank you for being on Unbuttoned. I really appreciate you being here. I'd like you to introduce yourself. Tell us who you are, what you do. Tell us your pronouns. Go for it.
Okay, well, thank you for having me. I accepted the invite because I was just like, why not? Like, this is something different. And, you know, this is something that is well talked about on the internet all the time. So I was like, well, why not? Like, I'll just do it. But hey, guys, so I'm Chrissy. I'm from Atlanta. I was born and raised here, but I was born in the suburbs. So that's why I don't sound like I'm from the South at all. I went to cosmetology school and I am currently going back to school because I want to own a med spa. That's my goal. And yeah, that's just a little bit about me. My pronouns is she, her. So yeah.
Okay. ATL, I lived in ATL for a long time, nearly 2 decades. So thank you again for being here. So the first question I have is, do you still stand on everything you said?
Yes, I do.
All right. Well, let's recap what you said for the chat. If you just joined in, if you're unfamiliar with everything that I've been kind of teasing this week or, you know, last week leading up to the show, Chrissy says that one, studs don't like bisexual women. We don't date them. We shun them. That's number one. And number two, she says that studs only chase straight women. Not only, you didn't say only. You said that we love straight women. We won't mess with bisexual women, but we love straight women. Do I have that kind of, is that kind of it?
Yeah, that's it. Exactly. That's exactly what I said.
Okay, and you still feel that way? You've
Yes.
had that experience. You've had experience with studs who will choose not to date you. So first of all, when does it come up that okay? Let me ask you this. So you start talking to a masculine presenting person, and you tell them you're bisexual, and they're like, "Nah, I'm good."
Well, usually, I'm not gonna lie, it's not necessarily something I just put on Jump Street like, hey guys, I'm bisexual. This is it. But it's more of a if you ask, I'll tell you. And so usually be talking to a woman and at some point we'll come on the topic of, like, okay, like what do you like? Like what do you prefer? How do you identify? And usually within that conversation is once I'm like, oh well, I identify as like bisexual, whatever, that's when I get, oh no, I don't mess with bisexual women. And, I don't have like the hugest experience with dating queer women, but the few like times that I have dated queer women, I've had much positive experiences with like feminine women. Usually, a lot of times, the feminine women I end up talking to, they end up either being bisexual as well, or they end up being lesbians and they don't really care about that stuff. But the few masculine women that I've talked to, like, usually it's an issue. I've only ever had like one that it wasn't an issue, and I feel like only because we never really discussed it. It wasn't like we never got on that topic. It was just more of like, oh, we had worked together, our coworkers put us on, and then we just went from there. Like we didn't discuss it further because it was kind of like, okay, obviously, if I showed interest, I'm interested in you for a reason. So
Yeah. So do you mind if we get like super real, like respectful and real? Because something that you said that it didn't bother me personally, but I was looking at some of the comments and some people were a little bit offended, a little bit, because you said that you typically you're not attracted to studs. Is that accurate? Would you say?
I wouldn't say I'm not attracted. They're just not my first choice when it comes to women. Like I always say that when it comes to women, I go for pretty women. Pretty has no gender, no label. I just want to be with somebody who I'm like, okay, like, you're beautiful, whatever. And with that being said, it can come in any packaging, but I typically lean toward, like I said, feminine women, because with feminine women, we tend to just kind of present more girly, even if we're not like the most like Barbiest of Barbies of feminine women. Like we still have some femininity within us versus like not saying that like masculine women can't be pretty, but I just happen to gravitate towards feminine women.
Right. Okay. And listen, preference is valid because I'm a masculine presenting person. I call myself a stud. I'm not attracted to other studs. I am only attracted to feminine women. And so I understand preference. I think for me, where it gets a little dicey is when the language turns to why would I want to date someone who is like a man? Because as a stud, as a masculine presenting person, I think many of us, all of us, would shy away from the fact that we'll say we're not men. We are women. I'm non-binary myself, but we'll say they'll say we're women, and yes, we dress differently than you do, but we're not men. So I think that's where it gets a little dicey, like I said, because it's the language. I saw a lot of people in the comments, a lot of studs, a lot of mass in the comments who were like, "Is there such a thing as being stud phobic?" Because I feel like we get a bad rap for a lot of things, and I feel like we're kind of picked on a little bit in the community. We all have different attractions. I respect all. This is a comment from Jazzing Up Life, but a woman telling me she is bi just isn't for me. Okay, you want to respond to that?
Well, I always say if like just how people have preferences or whatever, that's your business. I am not here to change like your opinion on, why you should be attracted to bisexual people. It's like, okay, that's your business. Okay, going on to the next person,
Yeah.
whatever, whatever. But I did also want to address a comment in there where they was saying that if I don't disclose my identity, like, is it a form of deception? And to me, in my eyes, I don't feel like it's a form of deception because again, if you don't ask, I feel like, that's not something that I'm just going to volunteer. There's certain things that people have about themselves that they don't willingly just outwardly say unless they're on that topic of conversation. And it's not that I'm hiding my identity or that I'm scared or anything. It's just simply, like I said, if you don't ask, we just won't talk about it because I assume that if you're talking to me, obviously you like me for some reason and I go for there. I don't really question too much like, okay, like, is this person bisexual? Are they a lesbian or are they straight? Like, we might have our questions, but like, it doesn't really, that question only really piques my interest if I'm attracted to you and I'm not sure how you identify, especially if this is our first time interacting and, I may not see any signs letting me know, like, okay, like in some way that they're queer or whatnot. But yeah, I'm not necessarily, to me, I don't feel like I'm hiding a part of myself. Because again, if the question is asked, I'm an open book type of person. If you ask me something, I'll tell you the answer and whatnot. But it's all about if you ask.
Okay. So let me ask, why, in your opinion, would a stud reject a bisexual woman? Like you said, this is almost verbatim what you said in your in the video, in your TikTok. I'm sorry, who knows who she is, but accept a straight woman who's still figuring it out.
Well, yeah, I've had in like the past had friends who are masculine women who straight up have told me like I'm not gonna be with a bisexual woman because you slept with men in your past, whatever. But then those same women would be chasing like straight women that they know for sure is not gay, and they're like, I'm gonna try to turn this one out, and in my head I'm like, that's crazy. It's like you want this woman who who outwardly says like I'm straight. She has a track record of showing that she is straight leaning all the way. Like she's never given you signs that she was queer. That's where you're like, oh, love that. But whereas a woman who knows like, yeah, I like men, I like women, I like everything in between, that's where people draw the line. And I just feel like, at the end of the day, people can have their preferences, just like how if you say you prefer not to be with someone who's bisexual, that's your business. But I do feel like bisexuals do get a lot of criticism just because, like, for example, the girl you was with, I'm not gonna lie, the whole time listening to it, it did sound like she was just trying something for the experiment, which sucks because nobody wants to feel like an experiment. Like, we're all human at the end of the day. And, we just want to be loved and be treated with kindness.
Are you talking about my high school girlfriend?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, like, she was wrong. She did you wrong. Like, we stand behind you. Okay. Period. But like, I just feel like, in my experience, I know who I like, and, I shouldn't be treated differently or be told like, oh, I'm not going to be with you for this reason. Again, that's your prerogative. I can't change that. But it does suck, especially when it's like, okay, we're already an oppressed community. Not only are we women, but we're queer women, and then adding a layer of being Black. I'm like, that's already a lot on top of our plate. So why are we then trying to portray the same things that people are portraying against the community? Like,
absolutely. And that's why I feel, kind of a connection with you, as you're bisexual, I am a stud, and I feel like there are so many misconceptions about, you and me. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like we can bond over that. You know what I mean? And like I said, I think preference is fine. I think all of that is we're not a monolith. Like you said, we're all, different in this community. I just want us to all like, just love on each other and respect each other, because a lot of times even straight people tell us that like y'all so divided in your community. And to me, there's no real need for that. But I have a theory about why some studs would go for a straight woman over a bisexual woman. Now, it's just my theory, but I would love to hear in the chat. If you're in the chat and you have an idea about why this is, or why, let us know. Let us know. I think if you are dating a bisexual woman, you almost feel like you are competing, right or wrong. You feel like you're competing with a man in real time, quote unquote, right? Versus being with a straight woman, you feel like she chose you over a man. Are you kind of going with me on this ride? It feels like bisexual, it's a little different. Bisexual woman, you feel like at any point she could go back to a man. This is what I've heard, okay? She could go back to a man. But with a straight woman, nah, she's with me. She chose me over men. I think that's how some studs or mass might think about it. What do you think about that?
I can understand possibly why they have that ideology. I'm not saying I agree with it because obviously that's why I made that video. But to a certain extent, like I said, I can understand that just because, like you said, they were chosen on, between the woman or the man. But at the end of the day, I still feel like, why not have that same mindset for bisexual women? Like, why not think, okay, this woman is bisexual, but she chose me. She chose to be with me. And, only like, I feel like bisexual people get labeled all the time as cheaters and that we're going to cheat. I feel like people gonna cheat regardless of their sexuality. Men cheat every day, that be straight. Yeah. Women cheat, that be straight. So I feel like cheating has no sexuality, it has no gender. A cheater is just a cheater. But the fact that with bisexual people automatically offer it, we're labeled as cheaters. And I'm not even saying that's just coming from queer women. I've even gotten that from straight men, like guys who they were trying to talk to me before. And then like maybe my friend who was like trying to put me on be like, oh yeah, she is bisexual. And immediately, oh no, she's going to leave me and cheat on me with a woman. And it's just like, you don't even know me enough to know if I would ever do that, let alone why automatically assume I'm a cheater just because I'm secure within who I am.
And I think
and somebody in the comments gonna say I'm trying to take it back. Baby, I ain't taking back nothing. I just said that I can see where she's coming from. You know, you can agree to disagree. I feel like, hey, but that's just me though.
100%. Chat, if this is hitting, I need y'all to tap the screen. I need y'all to do all the things. I'm so glad that you're here because this is I'm learning here. I think for me, I've always kind of considered like bisexuality. Like, first of all, a lot of people don't think it's the actual thing. You know, right? They think you're greedy. They think you want a little bit of everything at once. You know, I'm sure you heard it all. But the way that it works for you, you're in a relationship with one person at a time. So you might see, a man, you're attracted to him, you talk to him, y'all are in a relationship, you break up, you might date a woman next. Am I on point with that?
Yeah, it's just, I feel like, as you go through life, you meet so many different people. And I feel like, why should you limit yourself, especially if you, like I said, are secure within yourself? Like for you, you are a secure person. So, why should you limit the fruits of your labor just because somebody maybe wants to put you in this box or something? It's like, no, like I know who I am. And, if I want to have an apple today, but have a pear tomorrow, I should be able to do that because I know who I like. And, if you like me for who I am going to give you a chance. And I feel like regardless of, like I said, gender, sexuality, none of that, it doesn't really like come in the way because I always say, go where you appreciate it. Never go somewhere where you got to chase people down. Like you should never beg somebody to want to be with you. So that's why I don't take major offense when people say, oh, I don't date bisexual women. Yeah, it hurts because like, damn, like you knocking me off the chessboard before I can even make a play. But at the end of the day, you like what you like. And if you don't like bisexuals, hey, I ain't gonna fight you on that. Like I've never been the type to argue somebody down. Like, no, you need to change it. It's just like, no, if you feel that way, that like, good for you. I don't know what to say to make you think otherwise.
And that's exactly how I feel when people say, well, I don't date studs because, okay, if that's your preference, you don't like studs, you don't like masculine women. But I don't appreciate when people say, well, it's because you trying to be a man or you're trying, because that's not the case. So, Chrissy, I really appreciate you being here. And I want you to stay up on the panel if you're cool with that while I bring Egypt up.
I would love to, but I got to go to work.
You got to go? All right. Hey, listen, thank you so much for being here.
This was so fun.
Yeah, please, y'all, if y'all could follow Chrissy, shoot her your questions if you have them. I know a lot of people have questions. But hey, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. Like, I greatly appreciate you. From one Caribbean girl to another. Oh, I'm so sorry. Hold on. I'm so sorry. I apologize. You did say he was non-binary.
It's okay. It's all right.
From one Caribbean person to another. I salute you. Thank you so much for having me on here, and I greatly appreciate it. Thank you again.
Thank you, Chrissy. So what do y'all think so far? I wasn't expecting to connect so much with what she was saying. Of course, I disagree with a lot of it, but I think we are kindred in so many ways, man. Like, for real. Oh, my goodness. I'm so honored that you're here. Thank you for being here. Listen, I've been following you for a long time. What's up, Britt?
What's up?
So first of all, you are a content creator, dancer, an actress, and you drag studs every week, every day,
daily.
So all right, hey Buki, thank you for being here. That's what she says in so many of her videos. She's like, hey Buki, thank you for being here. It don't even sound right coming out of my mouth, but
okay.
Please introduce yourself.
Hello, everybody. I'm Egypt, also known as Egypt the Dancer. So make sure you go follow me. I do a lot of lesbian content, so that's kind of my thing. So yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay. That was a quick intro. So I got a lot of questions because you talk a lot about, or you joke a lot about studs dating straight women or chasing straight women. Is this really real? Is this a thing, or is this just for jokes?
No. So usually my content is like inspired by something. Mm-hmm. So I've experienced it. So even just having like stud friends, they've said things like, I prefer straight women, or I like the challenge, or I actually asked one today, and they were like, I mean, like, it makes your ego, it feeds your ego to date a straight woman.
Okay.
So I've heard things. I've dated women who have cheated on me, or, you know, had interactions with straight people.
So that's where the jokes come from. Like it comes from the fact that you've been cheated on. You've experienced this in real time. First of all, are those friends in the building? Did you bring them with you? Because I have questions for them.
They're not here, unfortunately. They're not in the building. I wish they were, but yeah. Even even the women with kids, because I might joke about being, how much it would be easier to get Stud's attention if I was a straight woman with kids.
Right.
I may have said a few times.
What's the kid thing about? Is it because we want like this instant family? Like I'm confused.
No, that I really can't answer.
I have so many perspectives to this.
It's just like, not to say, so even in the comments, sometimes in my section, the studs will be like, I don't choose. I just those are the people I just end up being with, are women with children and things like that. But I've also, like I said, I have friends or people in my life who I've seen in situations like this, dating somebody with kids who might be newly gay. We'll say that, newly gay.
Newly gay.
Or bisexual. It typically doesn't, sometimes it doesn't end well.
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay.
But
do you think it has something to do with like the fear of being compared to? I don't know, Britt. What are your thoughts on this? Why would a stud want a straight woman?
Man, it's just so layered, man. Because as you said, I'm past that dating straight women era. I agree with Egypt that it definitely, at the time when this was in high school or like college for a little bit, like this was child's play time, right? And for me, it was the challenge. It was the ego boost. But to be honest, at that time, as a mask, it was needed because we still are the underserved community in our community.
Yep.
And we still were when it was even worse when I was in high school. Being masculine just wasn't the thing, right? So it was like, for some reason back in high school, more of the straight women were the ones that were coming out. It was like they were the ones, they were straight, but obviously they weren't straight if they were dating us. So you get what I'm saying? It was like they were straight when you met them, but then I guess they found their sexuality while talking to you. So now you're together and they're supposed to be straight, but now they're not straight. It's really a confusing thing. But I definitely think it's about ego. And then as far as the kid thing go, I fell into that trap. I got in a relationship with somebody at 18 years old. She was 29. She had a kid. While we were in a relationship, she had a kid with the same man, bisexual woman. And at the time, it was me really wanting that ready-made, that I was running towards love, running to something. And at the time, when you're young as hell and you're looking for that as a mask, you just cling to the first thing that makes you feel seen, makes you feel heard, makes you feel wanted, makes you feel all those things. At the time, for me, it was the ready-made family. Now, hindsight, I won't say it was the worst thing because everything happens for a reason. But we ended up being together and married for 8 years. So I just have so much to say when it comes to the unpacking of women, masked women dating bisexual women and straight women. Majority of the time when it comes to the straight women is really derived in trauma, insecurities. Because if you feel like you have to date somebody that's not like you have to almost in a sense change somebody that's not what you're wanting. Why do you need to do that versus just go and talk to a lesbian? Just go talk to somebody that's of your title, your label or whatever, versus seeking out, straight women. And if there is a straight woman that comes to you, I feel like that should be a red flag too, as a mask. Like if you have a straight woman that's consistently saying that she's straight, but still wants to talk to you, that's an immediate red flag. She has issues. She needs to unpack as well.
And you're setting yourself up for a world of heartbreak. Definitely. Thank you for that. I'm coming back to you, Britt. I have a question for Egypt. How old are you, if you don't mind me asking?
Never asked a lady.
I'm sorry.
I'm just kidding. I'm 32.
You're 32. Okay, because we talked about age. We talked about both Britt and I said that we dated, straight women in high school, a little bit in college, whatever. I was over it by then. I had my heart broken too bad. But so I'm just wondering, like, is it the age thing? And speaking of age, you come for the 40 plus mass a lot in your content. Why you be doing us like that? We tired. We be tired. You have one.
Tired. I just have experience with 40 plus a little bit. I've done a little age gap thing, but I'm done with y'all for now.
Oh wow. Okay. So you don't find that we are mature and we're not for the games. You're done with us.
Well, for a couple months, I need a break.
Okay. All right. Cool. All right. That's fine. But yeah, I definitely think that it's rooted in ego. There's something about a straight woman. I can get her. I can turn her out. Whatever that means. What does turn her out mean?
It doesn't work.
Yeah,
Turn her out.
Turn her out for a few days and be sliding.
Literally be heartbroken in 3 months.
Can't even eat because you're just sick. No. But what I will say are like, I feel like the or more mature studs don't have this like that issue anymore because you've already experienced it. So that's why when they get, up in age a little bit, they're like, hell no. I'm not going to give women boundaries. It gets real strict the older you get.
Up in age.
Up in age. But every time I do talk to a stud or hear a stud's perspective, it's always, I went through a phase, or so y'all had your chasing straight women phase, apparently.
Yeah, we had to figure it out. We had to figure it out. Get your heart broken a few times. And
the thing is, I think that it's not understood or talked about enough that as a feminine woman, especially younger, you guys don't have a phase of having to find, you have to find yourself, everybody does. But us as masc, we go through this phase of literally having to find a place to fit in this world. And within that comes all this toxic masculinity that's from men and all the misogynists and all of that part of it. We try to embody this thing, especially back then, the older studs, they embody more of the masculinity and trying to be a man thing than we do, which is why the older studs say the new studs aren't studs anymore. That's a whole other topic for a whole other day. But it definitely comes from that whole dynamic of we have to go through a toxic phase. I mean, some of us don't, but I feel like a lot of us masks have gone through that phase to really find ourselves.
I think that I'm sorry, were you finished?
No, go ahead. I'm good. Go ahead.
I just feel like as we're all women, so you have that like, when you see children, we love children. Sorry about that. Sorry, I had to go with my car really quick. But anyways, we all like children. We all love children, or still have that like kind of motherly instinct, whether we're masc or femme. So studs, I think sometimes get pulled in with the children too, because I don't know. I feel like studs are very like overcompensate when it comes to children that are not theirs. And I think sometimes that might get taken advantage of. Love for children.
But because we're nurturers. You know what I mean? Like we really are. We are providers. We want to care for you. We love you. We want to care for this baby that you brought into our relationship. I've been there. You said that you have too, Britt. You did something. Yep. I want to ask you, Britt. Like I think you said you're divorced from this person.
Yes, I am.
Okay. How was that dealing with the kid part of it?
Man, it was heartbreaking. I think that's a whole, for me, it's like I said, it's just so many layers to this. It really is, because for me, my disdain to dating bisexual women, or really women with kids, is because of my trauma of what's happened to me, raising 2 kids for 8 years. And then when stuff hits the fan, I no longer have access to those same kids that I raised, poured my life, blood, sweat, and tears into. So it's like
kind of heartbreak right there.
It's a heartbreak you can't think about. Like, if you think about you carrying a child and then you raise this kid and then somebody just say, oh, nope, 8 years later, I'm gonna just take your kids. It's that. So for me, my thing of dating bisexual women and even, like I said, women with kids, is that it's a fear for me. It's not even really more of a judgment, or I think you finna go sleep with a man. I only think about that if you literally had just finished sleeping with a man, but if there's some time in between that, then you're bisexual. That's the whole point of why you're bisexual. But it's a balance there. You got some women that are bisexual and they'll be sleeping with a man and then go sleep with women. And I think, to me, that's a whole other conversation too, because that should be a concern. I don't know. Maybe it's just me as a masc. I don't know.
Yeah. I normally say, see, that's why I don't want to date women with kids. I'll get attached.
It's hard. Man, I'm telling you, it's heartbreaking, bro. It's heartbreaking. And the thing is, it's so hard because so many people have kids.
I've been there myself. It's difficult, especially when they're young. If they're grown, okay, fine, whatever. But when they're like,
many women out here with kids now, so it's really hard to come across women that don't. Honestly.
Yeah. Egypt, can I ask you? So,
yes.
Are you in a relationship, or you're just dating, or what?
I'm living. I'm not really actively dating, I'd say.
Okay, you're not actively dating.
I'm just focused on me.
Okay. Hey.
Traumatized too.
Right. And, I think for I'm Sam, I'm focusing on me right now as well. I'm not actively dating, but when I do get back into the dating scene, I definitely want to date someone who is secure and who she is, just like I want to be secure, and healed. I think that's the thing. What are the red flags that stand out to you? You meet a masculine presenting person. I'm assuming that you date masculine presenting people.
I do.
Exclusively?
Yes.
Okay, exclusively. What are some of the red flags that you're like, you know what? Nah, this is not gonna work.
Just the stud. So
Huh? Did you say
just the stud? That's a red flag. No, I'm just kidding.
he's coming for us?
No, I'm not. I'm not. A red flag. I feel like there's just so many.
So many.
There's just so many.
All you gotta do is look at her TikTok and you'll see all of them.
That's crazy.
To me, I will not date. And I don't want to even say this is a red flag. More so as a preference. I don't date studs with children. That's not a red flag. That's just it's a no for me, dog. Unfortunately.
Yeah.
I love kids, but just like you guys have like dated women and they have had children, and that was I've been kind of on the other side, like dating a stud that was a statty to somebody else's kids. I don't know how they do it in the straight world. I'm not that strong. That's all I gotta say. Because it was it made me feel bad because I felt like the way that they will use studs as a pawn, as control, it's sick.
Yep.
And I ended up having to leave that relationship because it came down to like, she can't see the little girl because of me. I haven't done anything, just cause, like, you know what I mean? So I didn't like that.
Yeah, that's how it happened in my last relationship.
And it's like, we didn't be doing that.
Yeah.
Like, oh, if you don't do this, you can't see. Like,
It sucks.
that's kind of crazy. So it's a no for any type of kids. You can have a dog, that's fine. Yeah, it's a no.
Okay, that's a red flag for you. Got you. What if I started talking to you and I said, you know what, the last person I was in a relationship with, it was a straight woman. Are you automatically not going to talk to me anymore, or are you going to give me a shot, or
No.
you're not going to talk to me?
Maybe no. That's gonna be a red flag to me because why are you talking to me? But I mean, nah.
No.
It would be alarming because I would ask some questions. You know what I mean? I would definitely have some questions, but I don't really understand.
Yeah.
I don't understand. I mean, I'm all for, like, you know, love who you love, like who you like, but I don't know.
No, I get it.
It's a preference for some people. Like, I've heard some people say, like, I don't like talking to lesbians, but which is weird because it's like,
what's that about?
would you not want to talk to a lesbian? If you
For real. So I think actually that's gonna be a conversation on my next show. It's about status.
You gotta be on that, man.
Yeah, for real.
gotta make a comeback. Talk about that.
Oh, that's crazy.
For real. You know, it's a whole thing. We gotta have a conversation about it. But Britt, I'm sorry, we got right into the conversation. You didn't get a chance to introduce yourself, so I'd like you to do that. Because I got some questions for you too.
Definitely. What's going on, everybody? I'm Britt. I'm 32. I am every woman. I do so many different things. I am an IT professional, network engineer, cybersecurity analyst. I'm in school for psychology. I'm an actor. I'm a model. I'm a current up and coming DJ. I do a lot of different things.
You're a DJ. Whoa.
I do a lot of different things on my page, so I hope y'all come through, follow me, get all that good stuff. And hoping to develop something with Erin here. So thank y'all for having me. Thank you for having me. Thank you for the feedback and the commentary, everybody in the comments. And let's keep it going. I appreciate y'all for having me.
Hey man, thank you for being here. Thank you for always saying my name right. I appreciate that so much. But you know, you said something on your, and someone asked if they could ask Egypt a question. Absolutely. Let me just say this real quick, and then you could ask your question. You said something recently on your TikTok. You said, "I never miss a person. I just miss out on misalignment." Hold on. I wrote it down. Do you remember this TikTok?
It's one of my recent posts. I literally just posted.
You said, "I don't lose people. I lose access to misalignment."
Yes.
That hit me so hard.
Man, it hit it. In the time when I wrote it, it hit hard, and that's why I posted it. Because you really realize when you lose out on stuff that it hurts in the moment, but if you zoom out and look at the bigger picture, you realize that it didn't work out because it wasn't aligned. You know, and you don't seem like that because we have a bad habit as humans of looking at things in details versus looking at things at the big picture. So when I zoomed out from it, which took a minute now, I'm not gonna lie, I didn't just do it immediately, but after a couple of days of sitting in what I was going through, it dawned on me like I didn't lose anything. I didn't lose that. It wasn't for me. That's why I didn't work out, you know? And we have to look at things from that perspective, even if it hurts, you know, even if it makes you cry and you done beg on your knees, it was misalignment.
Yeah, 100%. You said a couple of days. It took you a couple of days. It's been months. It's been months. And I'm still like pulling out to try to see the bigger picture, but more and more every day I think that's why I was so attracted to that TikTok, and that hit me so hard, is because more and more I'm seeing I did not lose the person, I lost access to that misalignment.
That's right. There you go.
100%. So, all right. So someone had a question for Egypt. If you could go back and you ask your question, and thank y'all so much for the love and for liking the live and for hitting, getting your daily heart needs and all that stuff. I appreciate it, for sharing it. Thank y'all. Oh, what's the pillow princess question? Wow, I don't think we touched on that, did we?
No, I think they were kind of saying briefly, like, masc may sometimes want straight women if they are like touch me nots or don't want to. Oh, wow.
Yeah, I definitely think that it's rooted in the patriarchy, because I think that a lot of times when these masks are involved with straight women, they go there because of those strict gender roles, and they want to. Some of them want to stick to that.
I've asked that question to somebody before, and it was because they heavily felt like straight women take that better than lesbian women. That's what somebody
Take
told me.
what?
You know, strap.
Oh, okay. You can say it. I think you can say it.
You know, strap.
You know what I'm talking about? Yeah.
That's interesting. Many lesbians are pillow princesses. Really? Many lesbians are
Many who?
Didn't hit me.
I don't think. Okay, see, this is labels. This label thing is killing me. It's killing me. Okay,
Come on, talk about it.
it's killing me. Okay, because now I just feel like the definitions are changing.
Yeah, they're evolving. They're evolving. I think someone also said this to me too, that for a stud, if you're dating a straight woman, you don't feel you feel like their standards are lower because they're used to dating men, and so their standards are lower. And I don't know if they think you can get away with more, you don't have to put in as much effort. I've heard that their straight women's standards are lower.
Nah, I think it might be the opposite.
Really?
Yeah.
Talk about
There
that.
was a point in time, somebody said in the comments not too long ago that straight women were treating us better than the lesbians were. Drink to that, Egypt.
Yeah. I repeat that. It's not true.
So
I'll just say what somebody said in the comments, you know?
Who said that? Come back.
excuse me, the opposite?
Yeah, the opposite.
Well, I mean, expand on that. Like, tell me how you
Yeah,
feel.
why you feel like that?
I don't know why I feel like Egypt is
I'm biased.
like she's not giving us the full
biased.
picture.
I'm just biased.
Sure, Anomaly, you could bring up other people. If someone wants to come up and talk about it. It's also about who you encounter to date. Each experience is different. Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Are there any straight women in the chat? I would love to know.
Yeah.
Put a straight woman in the chat, please. We got so many questions.
Straight women in the chat, let's go. Run it.
Please. Thank you for the roses. Thank you. Appreciate that.
Or even a bisexual woman, another bisexual woman. Do you have a perspective?
Yeah, I'm sad that Chrissy had to leave because I know a lot of people had questions.
Yeah, I missed kind of some of that conversation a little bit.
Yeah. Well, Egypt, you weren't here.
Oh, not
We're
too
a
much.
little- I appreciate you being there. It's cool. But yeah, like, y'all have questions. Y'all have more questions for the guests.
Are they straight if they date said? What's the criteria for that? I'm not sure. Who said do you have to date to be considered bi?
That's a great question. I mean, are they really straight? Well, let's talk about we've seen it a lot in the media lately. We saw Portia Williams,
Yes.
The Real Housewives of Atlanta.
Not bisexual. She just playing the game and she on my nerve.
Okay. So all right, let's talk about that. So Sway, she used to cut my hair when I lived in Atlanta.
Same here, bro. Same here.
All right, yeah. Sway is mad cool. And then, she popped out with Portia. Apparently they had dated before, and then they broke up, they got back together. So, I mean, are we putting her in the straight category or bisexual or what?
I don't think Portia's even bisexual.
I don't know. It just, bro. She is one of those people that are the prime example on why I feel the way I feel with stuff. Because she don't give bisexual. She gives, I date women in the time where it's convenient. When I'm tired of dating men are getting on my nerves. Now let me go over here to the woman. That's kind of how I'm thinking in my mind. Now, it very well may not be that, but in my mind, that's what I'm thinking with people like Portia. Like, you're just here because you got tired of a man. You ain't want to be over there, so you just came on over here. And
Or is it material for the show? Is it content for the show? Is she
that
gonna
part too? That part too? Are you just doing this to make money to coin? You know, that's a whole. It's just so many tangents for Portia for me.
so many because I mean we saw her talking about like she was condemning gay people, you know, when she was with her first husband, and then all of a sudden now she's out. I don't know. I can't speak for her. I wish she was on the show. I should have invited her, right?
Right.
Right.
Okay. All right. Not just sexually. Some people are attracted to people on a romantic level, not just sexually. Yeah. I mean, absolutely. What show are we talking about? Real Housewives of Atlanta, I guess.
And I know that stud is just treating her just so amazing.
Yeah, I mean, she got money, so.
I say we come back in 3 months, or I feel like whenever that relationship hits we're gonna have to talk about that.
Because I mean that's no, you bring up a great point. Would she date like an average stuff, or is it just because
whoever has the funds and the money for one?
Possible.
So you know that's also
okay. What about Niecy Nash? Do we have thoughts on her?
Another one.
Because as far as I know, she was a straight woman, and then this person came into her life, and she was like, "Hey, I don't know if I'm gay, but I'm gay for you."
the gay for you.
That's right. I don't
say the same thing about Mimi. Exactly. Mimi is another prime example.
Oh yeah.
It's just if I say another one, okay?
Mimi definitely had a little. Yeah.
All right. Britt, do masked women get misrepresented? Are we out here just taking shots all the time? Because I started off with Chrissy, and I challenged her on the fact that she said in her TikTok, she said, I don't typically date masked women because y'all trying to be men. And I had to correct that. And I'm like, okay, if you're not attracted to them, to us, that's cool. But no one's out here trying to be a man.
No one's out here trying to be a man. And that's still a thing we still struggle with. I was struggling with that when I was in high school, and we're still struggling with that. And 15, 20 years later about the same thing. And it's definitely a misrepresentation. But truthfully, I think that misrepresentation is rooted in the toxic masculinity that we had to go through for a long time because we weren't even accepted as masculine women for a long time. You kind of had to be that butch dude type of girl for a long time until being a mask or a stud was a thing, and it became a thing. Like even up until now, if we fast forward, the studs now are more comfortable and do things differently than even back when I first came out as a stud, right? So it's like in different generations, different things happen. And I think that we still have the mindset from when studs were in the 90s, and it's like, we're not out here trying to be men. Okay. If anything, we should be showing you that we definitely want to be girls.
So not too much on the butches. Yeah, I mean, you had a good point. I don't think I asked you how old you are, right?
32.
32. Okay. All right. Well, I am 44. I'm going to be 45 this year, and there are so many. I'm jealous of the younger studs now because they can do whatever they want. There are no limits to what they can do. What they say they out here twerking that. You know, we didn't. For me, that was unacceptable. So I love the fact that you're in this a pawpaw. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. All day. That's all right. But yeah, I love that there's so much freedom for us to just be who we want to be. You know what I mean? We don't have to get stuck in, oh, I'm a stud, so I can't say XYZ or do XYZ. I treat a mask like a pretty princess because they aren't used to it. Yeah, I mean, somebody trying to be men. Who?
Some are, but those are the butches though. Those are I won't say they're trying to be men, but they just embody an exceptional. They just embody a lot more masculinity than we do. I don't know. I go back and forth with that whole. That topic's controversial for me because I go 50-50 on. I can go deep on psychological level.
We love controversy.
Like wow, I think about psychological things when I think about certain things too. So.
Butch Anderson says, I am 69 and I've been a soft butch my whole life, and straight women like that type of energy. Listen, Butch Anderson, can you come up here? Because I would love to talk to you. Finally, I'm not the oldest one in the room tonight, okay? Because usually I come in here and all of y'all in your 30s and your 20s, come on up here because wow.
What's a princess stud? What?
A princess stud.
This is what I'm saying, all these different labels.
Lord,
what is a stud anymore? Like, I just don't even understand that anymore. I clearly, to TikTok's definition in their dictionary, I am not a stud.
Oh, so, really? What are you?
I mean, I thought I was a stud, but I guess I'm a mask. I guess I'm considered one of those princess studs.
So like a soft stud.
Yeah, I'm a softer stud. Like I have dominant energy. Like duality is my thing. I embody and wave in between my femininity and masculine. I present fully masculine, other than my nails, obviously, and they're not long nails, but I get my nails done. But I'm full masculine. But now other conversations, we could talk about different things, but as the presenting part of me, I'm masculine. And I thought that's
A
stud,
stud.
right? But apparently I'm not a stud. So
I think that people have taken like things are on a spectrum.
Yep.
Like it's not just stud. It's like how stud are you?
right.
I'm gonna give you like I'm a femme, so it's just easy. It's like soft stud, hard stud, medium stud.
What's your preference? Do you have one?
On that spectrum, like in the middle. I do like masculine energy from a woman, but I'm also okay and enjoy a woman who is in tune with her feminine side too. Can't be too butch. That's kind of I get scared. I do get scared. I have anxiety. I can't.
Too much is too much for you. But is there a thing for you as too soft?
I don't want to say yes.
Okay. But that's I want to hear about that, please. What is too soft? If she's twerking? If she's wearing? Tell me. What is too soft?
No, it's not even that. I would say I think that I have like maybe like a strong personality, maybe a little like dominant energy. So I like for someone who has more than me, more dominant energy than me. Because if not, then I'm gonna like walk all over you type of thing.
Yeah. What Ebony Rose said. Please answer in the comments. What is too soft? Because personally, I want to know. Because I've been called a soft stud. I've been too soft for some women. I've been too hard for some women. So I don't really know. I'm just ignorant. So
I just think people have their preference. Like we're all made up of masculine and feminine energy. Everybody.
Right. Yes, absolutely.
Like so, it's just kind of like that spectrum. How I don't know, because I don't want to say like too soft. Like I've had girlfriends that I don't know.
Okay, so if she wears a wig and got baby hair, is it a yes or no?
No.
Okay, right. Okay, so that's too soft. All right, did she wear makeup? Is that too soft?
See, I've never experienced that, but I feel like it would be different. I'll try anything twice. Okay. I've never experienced that.
That's a STEM. Exactly. She got art. To me, that's a STEM. When you start kind of going into that, that's not a soft stud anymore. That's STEM.
You're STEM, right?
STEM. Soft stud to me, it still leans in that masculinity a lot more than the feminine. But like you said, we're in tune with the femininity. Like we don't forget that we women.
Yeah, like we can go get our nails done. We can like,
you know what I'm saying, girl? We can gossip a little bit. Talk a little trash.
Yeah, I like
that. So overstimulated. Why are you overstimulated? You want to come up and talk to us?
Overstimulating the people. Oh Lord.
Nah, like I appreciate this conversation so much because again, I do feel like studs, we get a bad rap. We are often misrepresented, and that's the purpose of Unbuttoned. That's the purpose of the show, is to like get away from some of those misconceptions. So I thank all of y'all for being here.
Most definitely.
Britt, is there anything that you want to say?
We do not want to be men. Not all of us date straight women. I feel like if you come across a stud or mask that dates straight women, just go the opposite direction, because it's not going to work out the way you think it's going to work out. And I feel like if you decide to then go ahead with it, then you cannot be mad and bash people on the internet because you made the decision to date the person knowing it was a red flag. I think that's a problem too, that people try to place their decision making on the community, and it's like, well, you kind of knew, you shouldn't have did, but you did. So it's just, yeah. I think everything is about, yes, generational. I completely agree with that, Yemi. I definitely think that this is definitely a generational issue. I think it's a issue based on age groups as well. There's so many just tangents and things that can go into this conversation about dating straight women or bisexual women and why and all the things. But be yourself at the end of the day. That's all that matters. Just be yourself and go where you're liked and you're loved. If you're not liked, you're not loved, you're not poured into, move accordingly.
Yeah, 100%. Still learning that. I asked you about red flags. Some of my red flags, when I don't feel like you really like me for me, when I feel like you want me to play a role. Bless you. Bless you,
Yeah,
bless you,
that's
bless you. Did you say you want to complicate things? All right, you got to come up here. What
So
up?
you gotta come up here.
My light died. Hold on. Hey,
thank you. Allergies. It's a lot of pollen out here.
I'm allergic to that one over there sitting on the cat tree, so I get it. I take allergy pills every night. She's behind me.
Mm-hmm.
Baby.
I got
What's
my
up? Egypt, your eyes are beautiful. She's beautiful.
Thank you. You're making me blush.
She's a beautiful woman.
Oh, thank
I've
you.
only dated 2 lesbian women in my past, but mostly straight women, not by choice. But I had asked you to come up here because I got so many questions.
Not by choice. They forced you?
Well, I think maybe she might have run into what I ran into when I
Well.
thought only straight women were my only option at one point. So I don't know.
Yuck.
So Boomy, are you trying to talk in your mic?
Hello.
Oh, hey,
Good evening,
what's
everybody.
up?
Yeah, you can hear me?
I can hear you now. I can hear you now. So tell me, have you ever dated a stud or a mask who told you before that they were attracted to straight women, or they only dated straight women, or?
I did say I was going to complicate things, didn't I?
Yeah, talk to me.
Okay, so, well, Shay says, please don't, but I'm going to do it anyway, because I think I will come back to the question you've asked, Erin. But I do want to say that earlier, Britt made a comment about how in youth or in adolescence, masculine of center women have a harder time sort of navigating and finding their space in wider society, but also in this community specifically. And I want to say, as a lesbian who was living lesbian in high school, as a femme, F-E-M-M-E, it is also very difficult for us. And in my experience, the only girls that were interested or available or accessible to explore your sexuality in any way were the straight girls. So very often, some of the other lesbian or bisexual girls who were looking to engage with other girls ended up engaging with straight girls simply because those were who were available, right? And it's even it's less visible, less perceptible when you have 2 feminine presenting people engaging this way, because then it's like, oh, that's just her bestie, or they're close like cousins, or they're close like sisters. Yeah, like it was very easy to hide in plain sight. So contrary to a lot of, well, what Erin spoke to about like her high school girlfriend rejecting her and shunning her in public, we didn't have that struggle, right? So the straight girl didn't have to shun me in public, right? Maybe she'd let me do her hair, or if she played on the volleyball team or the basketball team, I could hold her towel or whatever it was, right? So when people saw those interactions, they never read them as sapphic. They never read them as full of desire. So yes, in a way, we also had that transition, and it was less about ego, at least in my experience. It was less about ego and more about just having accessibility to be able to figure stuff out as a gay girl growing up, right?
Femme privilege. Someone just said it in the comments. Femme privilege.
Well, there you go. Yes, they did say that. Now, have I encountered in my, like, since, like, from my late 20s, now I'm almost 40, so, like, I just turned 39. Have I experienced masculine of center women saying things like that to me? I definitely have. And I've experienced it in 2 ways. So I've experienced masculine of center women perhaps not necessarily having the language to say that they prefer straight women over other lesbians or over bisexual women, but definitely having a preference, especially if she is a touch me not, having a preference for a woman who also knows what it is to please and also knows what it is to give. So in that sense, it's almost like they felt as though, okay, well, hang on a minute. You can't like to do the thing I like to do because this is weird. You're literally not supposed to like to do the thing that I also like to do. And I'm like, well, you like women and I like women. And aside from the fact that you lot are gorgeous, there's actually like stuff I like to do with women. I mean, wouldn't you be confused if I didn't like to do stuff with women, you know? But they literally just prefer that, you know, you are this, whatever it is they have in their mind, and you fulfill this thing that they have in their mind. And please don't be too sexually forward. Please don't, you know, have too much of an appetite. Please also don't really know too much how to do the thing I also know how to do. Because then, I don't know, maybe they feel like there's competition or their dominance is threatened and things like this. And I think we do ourselves a disservice if, when we, you know, put these false equations together where we say masculine of center equals dominant equals top in bed equals this equals that, where a lot of the time those equations fall flat. particularly in the bedroom. But, you know, again, you feed into people's egos to allow for this veneer to exist in public, you know. And just because a feminine woman or a femme wants to be dominant sometimes doesn't necessarily mean that she wants that all of the time. It just means that she's a competent lover and she is prepared to reciprocate pleasure and desire and all of the things. But yeah, I mean, there's also the complication of living now, having left the States and living back on the African continent, specifically in West Africa. A lot of masculine women that I encounter here have only had access to straight women.
Yeah.
And a lot of them have been the dirty little secrets. They've been the mistress. They've been the person that woman calls when her husband is out of town, or the person that she calls when the children are driving her up the wall, or maybe her husband is in town, but he hasn't touched her for 3 months, you know? So then they call this woman and they spend a lavish weekend together, and that's that, you know? So there are various layers to this conversation.
Mhm.
But the part that I said that I've got an opposite example is being sought out by masculine of center women because I am a lesbian, and because for the first time, they're like the fantasies and the desires that they haven't been able to express with other women, they find that for the first time, I can say to her, I would like you to do this to me, and she knows what to do. And she can do it. And when she does it, she's not going to go blabbing all over the place about this is what has happened. So a lot of the times, the women, some of the masculine center women that I've been with have sought me out for like this kind of safety. I mean, well, other things as well, but specifically in terms of like physical intimacy, there's safety and the competence that sometimes doesn't come, perhaps if they've been chasing straight women, pillow princesses, less experienced feminine women, etc., and so forth. So that's the end of my complication.
Great. I feel like you have a response.
No, I mean, it was unraveled well. It was. I'm a person that likes perspective, so I like to see how other people think and see. And I do understand where you come from with the point that femmes went through the same thing. Now, it wasn't to our extent. It wasn't to the extent us that we did, but I understand your perspective that you guys too had discriminations as well, prejudices as well. So it definitely was well said. I don't too much have anything to go back with that.
I'm so excited because my friend, Two Women in a Wagon. This is your first time up on the panel in my life.
Me up here?
Yep.
Yep, this is my first time.
Oh, hold on. Let's see. Can you hear me?
Yes, this is my first time. I'm sorry, I was still on mute. You know, I don't do the live thing.
Welcome.
Well, thank you. I'm excited to be here. I know that I'm the oldest out of everyone on the panel. Aaron, I think I have you by about 8 months. So just a couple of points. So as far as bisexual women, very few people know that. Like when I first started dating, I only dated feminine women, straight women, bisexual women. That was my thing. Yeah. Well, you probably also don't know that when I first came out, I considered myself a soft stud. And when I was about 20, I came to my senses. I fell in love with someone, and that was the end of that. But I still consider myself the same way. I don't see myself as most other feminine women see myself. And so the majority of my friends, I probably have 3 feminine friends for every 10 masculine friends I have. And a lot of my friends date straight women. I have one who exclusively dates straight women. We've been friends for over 20 years. I've never seen her with a lesbian. Now, she's also someone who people would consider more butch than anything. Like, you know, when she refers to her stud friends, they say boy and everything else. And in no circumstance does she want to be a woman. But that she was my friend that actually broke it down to me about why so many studs date straight women. And one of the things that she said is the fact that straight women in general are raised to be wives. They are raised to see themselves as second class. They are raised to see themselves as someone who's supposed to be protected, the person who's supposed to take care of the children. And so when you have someone who consistently in a heteronormative relationship is always seen as the one who is supposed to give versus receive, and then you get with someone who in general, when you date a stud, studs are usually more the providers than anything else, especially if you are dating a stud who is a don't touch me. You find people who are willing to sacrifice themselves, who just in their own nature of deciding that they don't want sexual pleasure, they have learned how to deny that portion of themselves into a comfort level that they don't usually share with their great partners. And so a lot of times when you see those connections, they connect so deeply because they are so used to having to give something to everybody else. And so when a butch or a very hard stud gets with a straight woman, she's getting a woman who is willing to go above and beyond and do things versus what she would typically receive in a lesbian relationship, because that's how she's been raised. And so since that relationship is reinforced, because when she does that, the stud does more and more for her, she's like, oh, okay, well, the secret to having everything I wanted in a male-female relationship is present, and now I have to do all of the things that I was doing before, but I'm receiving a lot more from it. And so until they get into a situation where they have worn out that existence, they continue to show up for each other like that. And I think we see it again and again and again. And I don't think that there's ever going to be a time where masculine of center, stud, butch women don't pursue straight women for that exact reason.
All right. Well, hey, it's time to call myself out, like I do every show. I used to be a touch me not. I used to be someone who was definitely don't even think about it. And I dated a lot. I dated women who were cool with that. I don't know. Some of them were straight back in the early days, and then some of them were just, I don't know what it was. Maybe they were straight too, and they didn't know themselves. They weren't calling themselves that. But I definitely, that's what I was into, because I didn't want you to touch me. And so I'm evolving out of that. Because I realized that as masculine presenting people, we also deserve pleasure and we deserve to be able to let our guard down. But I think there's something to that. Thank you so much for saying that. I definitely think that's part of it.
Could I ask you a follow-up question to that? When you said that you used to be a don't touch me, in those relationships, do you feel like that reinforced a more selfish persona in the person that you were dating?
Ask that question again. I'm sorry. My mind went on a trip. Ask that question again.
In general, when you dated women who were comfortable with you being a don't touch me, or who never pursued that as an option, do you feel like you reiterated to them that it was okay to be selfish in that relationship? Not even just in general with you being a don't touch me, but do you find that reinforced outside of the bedroom as well?
Yeah, 100%. And I think that came from my fears, my insecurities, my perception of what it meant to be masculine presenting. There was so much wrapped up in that. What brought you out of being a touch me not? Dating a woman who was like, you're safe. You are safe here. And I wanted her so much. And she told me from the jump, she was like, if you're going to be in this relationship with me, I need to explore. And I was like, okay, I guess.
Was she a lesbian by chance?
She was, yeah.
Of course she was. Of course.
I just wanted to know. That's the question.
Yeah, and
But of course she was.
Right.
yeah, and so I was like, okay, well, let's try things. So yeah. But,
There was something earlier when I had mentioned that whole psychology thing where I said this has a psychology piece to it, where we were talking about, I think we were talking about butches and certain things like that. And I was like, I respect people that decide whatever they decide. But when it comes to the touch me not butch aspect of things, there's, to me, a psychological part of it. A lot of it could be deeply rooted in insecurity, trauma, which you may think that the ideology of what masculine presenting women are supposed to be. And again, not everybody is like that. I don't like putting people in boxes, but this is just a perspective to give that, just to what you're saying on how you came out of it. You had somebody that gave you that place of safety. For me, safety is number 2 core value for me. So if I don't feel safe, nothing is happening, right? And I think that a lot of us as mass have, as women, really, as a whole in this entire nation, but just pinpointing down to the mass women, we don't have that sense of safety a lot of the times, I feel, and especially for women that started or still are that touch me not, is definitely heavily rooted in a safety aspect there for me. But that's just me talking on the psychological part of the things.
100%. Egypt, would you date a touch me not?
I have.
You have? How you feel about them?
I mean, like, that's not gonna make me not pursue somebody or want to be with somebody. It's not a deal breaker. It was, sometimes I did kind of feel like there's things that I would like to do, or I felt like maybe I wasn't. I kind of questioned, like, were they still being pleasured? They were satisfied. So that was kind of like, I don't know.
100%. Because when I got with women, they would ask me like, okay, well, if you're a touch me not, where do you get your pleasure? And I would explain to them. We're not gonna talk about it. Houston, welcome to the panel.
Hey y'all.
Welcome to the panel.
It's so late.
Yeah,
but I'm glad.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, tell me what your perspective is on all of this.
Yeah, I think I jumped in like in the middle of it, but definitely good conversation. I think with like mass presenting people in general, and me kind of being like, I guess starting out that way, but also realizing, I think you just have to realize like it's okay to be feminine, and like the topic or the statement about studs dating straight women because of, I guess, what straight women do in relationships. I thought I wanted to comment on that because I'm like, I mean, I'm married to a woman who's a lesbian and she does a lot of things too. And the comment was made about the fact that mass presenting women are typically like providing and doing a lot in one direction. So I think it's just an energy thing of like whatever you're comfortable with, you do, and whatever I'm comfortable with, I do. And hopefully the things that we're not comfortable with or are comfortable with like either match up or like, if you want to do, cars and trash and cooking and cleaning, like fine, but the gender roles kind of don't really go there. It's just, for me, it's not a gender role. It's I'm the mask presenting person and I have a delicate flower and I don't want her to do certain things. It's not about like a role or anything, but I've also had to become comfortable with also being more feminine and being more, I think there's also like a fear of like, when I think especially when people are dating, like when you're a man, for example, you don't want to seem like less manly. So I think as like a mass presenting person, you don't want to seem like less masculine. But like at some point, I think we realize like that's okay. And if a woman really loves you, then they also love the woman in you. But you just don't get to explore both. Typically, you just kind of go in one direction, and then you just go so far one direction. But then you're like, oh wait, I can do this too, and be comfortable being there too.
Yeah, I think that's what, I've said it. I think Britt said it as well. Is that feeling safe? That's so important for us. We struggle sometimes with feeling safe in the world in general, and so sometimes we don't know how to come into a relationship and just let our guard down.
Yeah, and nobody's telling you to too. So you think because you date, I think also dating, if you are someone dating a straight woman, like they are used to being pillow princesses because they usually don't have to do anything. The man usually isn't going to be, well, for the most part, they're not really doing anything. So there's no expectation of that. But if you're dating a woman who's used to doing things to women, they're going to tell you like, no, you need to, I'm not touching nothing. And then you're like, oh,
right,
okay.
which was my experience. And, I would encourage, all of the feminine presenting people in here. If you get into a relationship with someone who's like, I'm a touch me not, I don't feel comfortable with XYZ, challenge them on that. Don't just be like, all right, well, no, challenge them a little bit, in love and make them feel safe and comfortable. But I had to get challenged. And, when I let my guard down, 10 out of 10, 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10.
10 out of 10, okay? 10 out of 10.
So I will say I'm still not someone who wants that all the time. It's still not really, but I do enjoy it sometimes, so it's cool.
Okay. I love that.
I wanted to make a comment on the safety question. And it's interesting because I recall a few years ago, I was talking to this woman and she sought me out, whatever. We started talking and at some point in the entire getting to know each other phase, she was masculine of center, obviously. I only entertain masculine of center women. At some point, she said something about how she didn't, so she, at the time, she identified as a touch me not. But it's interesting because she said that's not a role or a label that she chose for herself. She said, she was an athlete in secondary school, an athlete in university, and and then she started dating women, etc., and so forth. And they just kind of painted her into this role because she was masculine of center and athletic, etc., and so forth. And it was funny because, well, not funny like Greek tragedy funny, like not haha. But anyways, she was explaining how with so many different lovers, they just kind of cast her into the role of you have to be dominant in bed, you have to top me, you have to initiate, you have to this, you have to that. And she continued playing that role and ended up in a marriage where that was her role. Like she had been married for, I think, 6 years or something, and had never been pleasured by her wife. And like her wife had never even ventured or proposed or suggested reciprocating pleasure. And it was interesting because in this conversation that we were having, and no, I was not really open to entertaining her sexually, but we started talking, and then I discovered later on that she was married, and so that things got complicated. But anyways, long and short of it is that for the first time, she felt safe enough to admit that to someone, me, and then was actually like telling me about how she used to fantasize about not having to top. But unfortunately, she could never say this to her wife because, everything was so boxed in, and she just thought, if I tell her this, she's going to start looking at me differently, you know. And this she was also in a relationship where her wife had like painted her into the role of provider. You know, she took the trash out, she walked the dog, she did all of the housework, like all of these different things. And then everything got even more complicated because her wife's mum passed away in their home, and she made her like promise her that she would never leave her daughter. And I don't know how it is that some of you have like these consciences that people can guilt trip you till you reach your grave. But I was like, so you're going to stay in that situation where you're clearly not being fulfilled because you made a promise to a dying woman. Like, this is just very, I couldn't understand it. And every once in a while I think about her, and I hope that either she extricated herself from that situation or found a way to speak up for herself so she could get what she needed. But either way, I mean, I don't have the answer because I had to get myself out of that situation because it was getting very, very clear that she was trying to use me to fill the needs that she was not getting from her wife, and I'm nobody's mistress.
That's crazy to be married
So,
to someone.
yeah. But then on the flip side, I've had experiences with well, a woman I really liked. You know, it's interesting because she's francophone, and so somehow we got lost in translation because I did ask, you know, when we were getting to know each other, if she was a touch me not or not. But again, I mean, and I speak French, so I should have thought of this as we were speaking and getting to know each other. But I kind of messed up and I didn't ask. But anyways, turns out that she was a touch me not. And then I remember one evening in bed, she like stopped, like everything stopped, cut, cameras cut. And I'm like, what's going on? And she's like, hang on a minute. That thing you just did, men don't do that. Men don't accept that. And now here's the funny thing again, and this time it's funny, haha. I think it's like a lost in translation thing in this instance, like for real, because this person was not at all trans identified, not even non-binary identified, but it was just they grew up in a West African country where their only exposure to masculinity was in men, and had a very traditionalist parent dynamic, had brothers and friends of brothers that were very like hardcore machismo kind of guys. So she could not fathom letting a woman touch her. And honestly, I mean, when she would break down how she got her pleasure, it was like, okay, great. So you get your pleasure solely off of, pleasuring me or like seeing my pleasure, whatever. And I mean, I had heard that before, and I too can be aroused by my partner's responses. However, never getting like physically stimulated, that blew my mind, and other lovers, Muslim women who have said, oh, it's they don't want to be touched. They can touch you because then it doesn't affect their deen, because afterwards they can clean themselves. So it's not that they are actually touch me nots. It's just that they think that is the least haram way of being a practicing lesbian.
Okay.
Lots of layers to this conversation, but yeah, I always come and I complicate things up. Yeah.
I appreciate your
but that was
appreciate it.
Hello, beautiful people.
Hi.
Hi, can you all hear me?
We can hear you very well.
Hey, y'all. So we're about to wrap this up. I just want to let everybody know we're turning the lights on.
This is my moderator, guys. She runs the show in here. But I'd love to give everybody an opportunity to say one more thing before we hit the sheets. And I thank y'all for being on here. And I just want to say, like, I really appreciate the conversation so much. It was not divided. We came in here, we asked our questions, we learned from each other. So I love that. So I'm gonna start with you, Egypt. Is there anything else that you'd like to say?
Just love who you want to love, and also go lesbians. That's really about it. Thank you for having me. This was my first time doing something like this. I don't really get online.
Okay. All right.
Everybody's perspective. So
yes, and y'all please follow Egypt. She's super funny, and I really enjoy her TikToks. What about you, Britt?
I mean, much of the same. And pick who love you. Go where you want it. Go where you're poured into. Go where you feel safe. Be you, authentically you at all times, no matter what other people think or what box you got to be in. Always stand outside that box.
Yeah. Mommy, you're next.
Hi. Okay. I'd say we just need to be considerate of one another in all the ways. And if we lead with consideration, the care and the affection and all of those things come after. So, a lot of the stereotyping and the biases tend to fall away if we just consider the woman or the person across from us. So, yeah.
As a person, right? And not just as, oh, this is a stud, this is a femme.
As a person, like beyond the labels. Like if they could never use the labels, love that person.
Yeah, 100%. Houston?
Hey, yeah, I agree. Like the person, because there's layers to you that you won't even know until somebody like, opens that up or allows you to. So I think the comment that stood out to me the most right now is chores don't make you a man or masculine. Either of us could walk the dog. I think that's exactly true. Everything is a spectrum, and the things that we associate with masculine and feminine, we need to challenge that. And it's just like a duality of existing. Doing or not doing, leading or not leading, leading or not leading. It's like there's duality in everything. Certain times you do, certain times you don't. So challenge everything.
Facts. Duality is my favorite word. That's why I got it on my nail.
Okay.
I feel like we all that's us. We literally are embodiments of masculine and feminine energy. And it depends on where you are, what you are, how you going about a life, how that decides it exudes from your body. I mean, sometimes the only reason why your feminine or masculine energy isn't a thing that people can feel or you can see is because it just hasn't been tapped into yet. And that's why it's really important to, like you guys are saying, to see people as people. That's why I hate this label and all these different things, and just be yourself, whatever that looks like. Whether it looks feminine today, masculine tomorrow, feminine and masculine today, just be you. Period.
100%. Well, I am a masculine, non-binary person, and I take great pride in that. I think if I had something, the last word for me would be, if we talk about dating a straight woman, I never want to be someone's exception. I don't want you to say, well, I'm gay for you. I want to date someone who is in my community, who understands. That's why, and no offense to anybody else who does this, or I don't date outside my race. I love Black women. It's because I want to date someone who understands my struggle. I want to date someone who knows what I go through on a daily basis. And so even though I only date feminine women, I want someone in my community. So again, I don't want to be someone's exception, and I want to be aligned. To use the word that you said in your TikTok, Britt. I want to be aligned. And yeah, so thank you all again for being here. If you've been rocking with the show, I really appreciate y'all, and I hope that y'all come back next week. This is Unbuttoned. I'm Erin, or E, and good night to y'all.